Good morning, Thursday morning at the Falls of Clyde, up at Bonington Linn. I think that's Bonington Linn, or is this Coralin? Let me double check that before I go putting my my lack of geographical knowledge to the test. I'm up at the waterfall at New Lanark, and it's a lovely morning. 6:10 I walk past the swing park there. Good morning, Leona. Happy 50th to you, my dear. That must have been nearly 40 years ago we were at school together. Crazy to talk like that, isn't it? It's wild. Right, here we are, New Lanark, and just give you a wee pan round of the view. It's gorgeous up here, I love it. There's my favourite tree, big fella. Ralph's crying because he wants to keep walking. Why do you want to keep walking? Right, good morning. Pull my wee hat down. Hello? Was the sound not working? Damn, I've been babbling on for ages. Willie, is the sound working now? No sound. Right, okay. Let's start again. Stupid headphones. Right. This morning I'm talking about kindness. So thanks to Nadia for suggesting we talk about kindness. K for kindness. I'm going through the alphabet, speaking about things that might be helpful for other people. So, kindness. Let's start off with the brain. Right? I'm repeating myself, sorry. Lost about 5 minutes there. Right. The brain, let's just imagine the brain's about 300 million years old, and the brain started its formation in what would be called the cerebellum, which is at the back of the skull here, which is at the top of the spine, the cerebellum, otherwise known as the reptilian brain. About 100 million years later, which was about 200 million years ago, there was a phylogenetic change in the DNA structure, which allowed a new formation of a new brain, which is the limbic system, and it's where we started to give birth to live young. Now, prior to that, the reptilian brain, why is it called that? Because it's very similar in structure to reptiles. In fact, as memory serves me, the closest thing that it is to is currently a turtle. So we have that brain at the back of our head here. Now, I don't imagine that any of you have, in a cage or on TV or even walking down Buchanan Street in Glasgow, seen two reptiles holding hands, being compassionate and sharing acts of kindness, right? And I guess that you would imagine that you've never seen a reptile taking breakfast to its newly born baby, because reptiles are super self-sufficient and they rely on no one or nothing. That's the reptiles. Now, I know lots of people like that actually. So then we've got the limbic brain, right? So the limbic brain is where we started to give birth to live young, and so the story goes. We've then got the cortical regions of the brain and the prefrontal cortex, and that's only about 40,000 years old in its making, but we'll come back to that. Now, why am I talking to you about that? Because kindness and the brain are succinctly connected. Now, Darwin's theory of evolution is that the strongest survives. Those procreate whose seed, who's strong and fit, are able to survive. Now, in actual fact, that's not necessarily true, because when you look at the science of it, tribes that were more adverse in empathy had a stronger survival rate. Now, if you really look into Darwin, we've been taught to believe that that was Darwin's theory, that the strong would survive. And in actual fact, I think somebody was kidding us on with that, and that's just part of what he said that they put out and then promoted. If you actually study Darwin and Darwinism, he was very into compassion, and a lot of his theories have only recently been, a lot of Darwin's theories have only recently been accurately attained through the use of neuroscience and science. So what happens with kindness? Now, we are actually wired, it's almost like we are fused for social connection, kindness, empathy and compassion. And why do we know that? Because if you look at the brain of, if you look at a brain image of somebody that's in pain, right? They might have a bad back, they might have a knee dislocated, they've hurt their leg, they've sprained their ankle, whatever that might be, and they're in pain, and you were to look at their brain on an imaging scan, you would see a certain part of their brain light up. Now, if you're sitting beside them and you're looking at them and you're feeling their pain, but you're okay, you're physically fit, and they measured your brain scan, the exact same part of your brain would be lighting up as their brain. Now, it's a little bit more complex than mirror neurons, but it's like if you're into football, which I'm not, and you're screaming at a TV screen and you actually think that you're Pele taking that last penalty shot, then that ties into that kind of stuff. For me, it's Formula One. I've actually caught myself on the couch watching the Formula One, and I've got this invisible steering wheel in front of me, and I'm bending over when it's the MotoGP, right? And that's why that stuff works. Now, kindness and compassion lights up many different regions of our brain. It also, when we're acting kind or we're doing a random act of kindness towards another person, it increases serotonin, which is the same chemical that's released through antidepressants, right? What does serotonin do? Serotonin helps us heal. The more serotonin we've got in our system, the faster a wound would heal or an injury would heal. Serotonin makes us feel good. Serotonin makes us happier. And the other thing that it gives out is a thing called oxytocin. Now, I talk about that all the time. Oxytocin is what's known as the cuddle chemical, the bonding chemical. It makes us feel connected. It makes us feel that we're part of a unity. So rather than looking at the world through a singlet, where it's back to that split sort of consciousness where we're divided, what we can do is we can start to see that we're more part of something whole, the more that we are giving rather than taking from our environment. Now, it's also proven, as I said, if somebody was in pain and we were looking at them, the same regions of our brain would light up as what theirs were. But likewise, if we're walking past someone and we see a young person, or anybody for that matter, helping an old lady across the road with her groceries, that is felt by us. So someone doing an act of kindness 500 metres down the street, if we witness it and we see it, we get to feel good as well. Now, that then opens up another conversation around about how important it is to become an effective manager, in fact, CEO of your own biochemical factory that lives inside us. Now, there's been loads of studies done on kindness, and in actual fact, rich people miss, so there's philanthropists, but philanthropists on a whole who have got a large amount of wealth, or rich people that give to donations and give money away, right, they seem to miss the compassion aspect of it that poor people do. So studies that have been done in poorer communities, when they're giving something away, there's actually different regions of the brain that's ignited and released. Now, compassion isn't a new thing. Compassion is something that's very primordial, primitive, and there's a very primitive part of our brain called the preaqueductal grey, which ignites when we are doing random acts of kindness, right? So that would then tie in that what neuroscience has just found out now is that that's very old in our limbic regions of our brain, right? So kindness has an ability to scientifically create DHEA, which is a chemical which makes you have more vitality, which makes you look younger, act younger, feel younger. So the more that you are able to demonstrate random acts of kindness on yourself, self-compassion, self-love, start to like yourself. But in order to actually like yourself, you've got to let go of the negativity. And negativity is coming from a place of fear. And fear is what keeps us in a split sense, a dual sense that we're separate from the world. So liking yourself, how do you like yourself? You get rid of the negativity. The negativity is being driven by fear. What does fear do? Fear means that I'm separate from my environment, which keeps us separate, which keeps us split, which keeps us in dualism, which keeps us in separation consciousness. Whereas when you start to like yourself and you can start to give from a place of presence, and you can start to see that you're part of a bigger picture, you can start to see that we're all connected. And I really don't know how much more science we need to get. There was a thing going about on Facebook last night around about some satellite or spaceship or something that could have been seen if you looked west of the moon at 9:20 last night. But I watched a wee video about it, and the astronaut was saying
that he would really wish, one of his greatest wishes is that everybody could get to experience looking at the world from outer space. And his reason for that was, when you're out there and you're looking at the world from orbit and you're looking down on it, you get a sense that everybody and everything in the world is connected. Now, what's it going to take? Do we need to fly out of orbit to look down on the planet and realise that everything is interconnected? What is it going to take? Do we need to put a video together that, in order for people to start to understand this very basic concept? We are all wired for social connection. We are all wired to empathise and feel. Now, empathy is different from sympathy, and empathy is certainly different than feeling sorry for somebody. Now, if you hear somebody and they say, oh, I just feel very sorry for them. Goodness. Gosh, who do they think they are, eh? People that would turn around and say they feel sorry for somebody else. A bit arrogant, but nonetheless. Or I feel very empathetic towards their situation, somewhat different than, oh, I feel sorry for them. Right? Now, we've looked at brain images. We've looked at people being together on brain scans. Brains that wire together, fire together. When we start to act kind, firstly to ourselves, and we start to give kindness from a place of having no agenda, then many other people get the benefits. Now, as I said, let's go back to, this is why I'm always encouraging people to start to become at least aware of their own biochemical factory. Because the chemicals that are released when you're in fear creates more fear. The chemicals in the body, I know this is a really hard concept for people to grab, because if you're talking about chemicals, as in vodka or whiskey or cocaine or heroin, it's like they're an external inanimate object that you can, yeah, okay, I can see a picture of that. That's an ecstasy tablet. When I take that ecstasy tablet, that'll make me feel a certain way. But in actual fact, the ecstasy tablet doesn't make you feel that way. The ecstasy tablet opens the door that allows chemicals to be secreted out of your brain, and it's those chemicals that make you feel a certain way. Empathy, connection, love isn't in an ecstasy tablet. So we have got the most complex biochemical structure and network within our own body, that when we are in a place of fear, the chemicals that are being released in that actually force us into separation and make us feel that we're separate from the world, and the world seems like a strange place. But when we can ignite feelings of kindness and empathy and compassion towards other people, the chemicals that are released inside us create more of a feeling of unity, of a unified field of togetherness and connection. Now, there's different places you can give from, and there's a thing in the Bible, and I forget what it says, but it's like, an honour a man who does what he does when nobody's looking. And it's like, many people give but want to be seen for giving, whereas now, the older I've got, the people that I respect are those that do it without wanting to be recognised or even seen for it. Now, many people give 10% of their wage to here, and they do this and they tick all the boxes because that's what they've been taught to do. But in actual fact, are they connected? Is it a place of compassion that they're giving it from, or is it just because they've got the ability to do it? Right? And then they get a little boost that, oh yeah, well, I give 10% of my income to charity. So kindness, compassion creates chemicals such as serotonin, which makes you feel good. In actual fact, oxytocin and serotonin, through giving acts of kindness, I've led to believe is 3 times stronger than any morphine. Heroin has been a perfect pain reliever, and it's not going to wind you up in jail or give you an expensive habit. So practicing acts of kindness is not only good for other people, it's good for ourselves, it's good for our community, it's good for everyone. Whatever it is that you could start to do for someone else. And that brings us back to step 12 of the 12-step process. Once you've had a spiritual awakening by working the steps, go out and give the message to other people. So it could be something as simple as holding a door open. It could be something as simple as saying sorry. It could be something as simple as making somebody a cup of tea and just putting it at their desk, or, you know, sharing your sandwich with them. It doesn't need to be that you buy them a new car or do something that's extravagant. So have a fantastic day. K for kindness. Hope that's been helpful, and have a great day. All the best.